He is the worst villain, on Jae-rim the executor. He disguised himself as an ordinary person to meet his lover, but was met by his in-laws and family. He faced the Han Kim family, which turned out to be his girlfriend's family, and to receive their protection from attacks by the executor who is himself. Jae-rim finally moves to the residence of Hain's family, his girlfriend. Jae-rim looked at Hain's residence curiously. In Jae-rim's backpack there was a dog with yellow hair. Jae-rim rang the bell to get Hain out of the house. Hain greeted him and said welcome to Jae-rim. Jae-rim and Hain hugged. Hain was worried about Jae-rim, but Jae-rim told Hain not to worry because he was fine. Hain told Jae-rim to go into his house, while Jae-rim's dog was angry seeing what happened. Hain tells Jae-rim that his father is throwing Jae-rim a coming-out party, letting Jae-rim know why Hain told him to come with an empty stomach. Hain's mother welcomes Jae-rim who will move into her residence. Jae-rim thinks that her plan is already working. Hain's mother was surprised by the puppy Jae-rim was referring to and thought he was very cute. Jae-rim thought that he would make the Kim family regret letting him come to his residence. Hain's mother sent for Jae-rim, and after arriving at her house she was greeted by the other members of the Kim family, all the while thinking that Jae-rim would make Hain's mother regret having let her into her residence. And the scene shifts to a few days ago on Sunday in a building. K is still confused about what happened last time, and wonders what his brother is thinking. K is also curious about the sudden meeting held by the executor. In this scene, the villain executive member, the executor, is introduced. A woman with a transparent cloth that covers her mouth up to her neck is named Q, who is the executive planning director. The person with the bear mask is called Jae, who is the executive security director. And chaired by On Jae-rim, the executor, he invited them to this place to announce his marriage. K was surprised by the news of Jae-rim's marriage. Q, holding his lips, thought that Jae-rim would marry him. K thought the woman was crazy and very difficult to handle. K's words made Q angry. Q angrily said harsh words, and with his superpower intended to punch K. K arrogantly wanted to try Q attack. They looked at each other and were ready to accept and launch the attack, but the executor stopped them with his mental attack, and said enough. The executor told them both to sit down immediately. K felt intimidated by his brother's mental attacks. Meanwhile, Q vibrated because of the executor's mental attack. Jae, who was not involved in any problems with them, congratulated the executor on his marriage. Jae asked the executor about the couple's wedding date. The executor says that the wedding will take place in 8 months, and he starts turning on the screen projector. Jae-rim shows a photo of his girlfriend. Jae-rim explains that he does not have any abilities and she named Hain. Q felt disappointed because it turned out he was not the executor chosen. The executor had no intention of revealing his identity, but suddenly K hit the table and told his brother to wait a moment and remember the woman. K remembered it and explained that the woman the executor was going to marry was the youngest child of the Han Kim family, which surprised them all. The executor confirmed K's words if the family he was going to marry into was one of the 5 founding families of the Hero Association, the pillar of the organization, the Han Kim family. K was connected and knew why his brother was so close to the Kim family at that time. Jae-rim thought about Hain and came to one conclusion. While dropping the projector remote, Jae-rim said that this unexpected situation would be the best opportunity to defeat that trash hero. Jae-rim thought that all he needed was Hain. K thought that his brother's marriage had hidden intentions. K thought that his marriage was just a decoy, and his main goal was to destroy the Han Kim family. K thought that the executor was a great person who even used a marriage as bait. The executor was confused by the expression that K made. The executor said that as a future son-in-law, he could infiltrate the hero faction and gain their protection, and the executor would start his hunt after the wedding. Hearing the executor words, they thought that the executor plan was a very good plan. The executor continues, if his prey starts to let his guard down, the executor will explain the plan to them and tell them to proceed carefully, thinking that if there is a sudden death, they will not be able to calm down and will not want to continue the wedding. The executive director told the executor to hand it over to them. Jae denied it and asked the executor. The executor was confused and asked what he wanted to ask. Jae explained that one of Han Kim's family members would be heading there. Jae asked if that was part of the scenario. It can be seen that Kim Yi-hoon, Uncle Hain, is going to his room. The executor was surprised by this sudden incident. Suddenly his cell phone rang. The person calling was Kim Yi-hoon. Kim Yi-hoon asked Jae-rim about the work Jae-rim did even on Sundays. Kim Yi-hoon was there because Jae-rim's position was in the guard zone, and he wanted to check the spot too. Jae-rim deactivated his executor mode and was confused about the checkpoint that Kim Yi-hoon meant. Kim Yi-hoon agreed that he really wanted to check Jae-rim checkpoint and asked Jae-rim to meet for a moment. Kim Yi-hoon, who was outside his room, was surprised by the sound of footsteps inside Jarim's room. While frowning, Jarim said damn. Kim Yi-hoon opened the door and asked if Jarim was inside. Jarim hurriedly left. Kim Yi-hoon started to peek through the open door, surprised by what was in Jarim's room. On the other hand, one of the Kim family members talked about Jarim who didn't look like the executor's subordinate. The one who said that was Kim Ho, Kim Yi-hoon's father, and beside him, Kim Young-sik, Kim Yi-hoon's older brother, Kim Ho, talking about Kim Young-sik's younger brother who thought that Jarim was the executor's subordinate. But Kim Ho and the Kim family members don't know the clarity, because previously Jarim used powers that were too strong for ordinary people without superpowers to possess. Kim Ho looked at Kim Young-sik, and Kim Young-sik nodded as a sign that he agreed with his father's argument. Kim Ho will observe Jarim secretly and send Kim Yi-hoon to Jarim's place to investigate. On the other hand, before Kim Yi-hoon opened the door, he was surprised by the sound and thought if there was someone inside. Jarim shouted at his men to change into office mode with a silent scream. Kim Yi-hoon opened the door slowly. As soon as he entered, he called Jarim, while carrying promotional paper that says Devil Clean, which is Jarim's work disguise. After entering, Kim Yi-hoon was surprised because it turned out there was a meeting. Kim Yi-hoon apologized because he thought there was only Jarim because it was Sunday. By holding back his anger and thinking damn hero, Kim Yi-hoon asked Jarim if he could come in. Jarim reluctantly allowed it. Jarim introduced his executive employee. Kim Yi-hoon focused on the person he thought was the mascot. J-Mode Office is a marketing director. Suddenly a woman greeted Kim Yi-hoon, made Kim Yi-hoon fall in love and surprised him. She is Q. She said that she often sees Kim Yi-hoon on TV. Q in office mode is the planning director. Kim Yi-hoon shyly introduced himself to Q with his nickname Kim Lee-hoon. Q complimented Kim Lee-hoon that he looked better in person, which made Kim Lee-hoon uncomfortable, while Jarim looked confused, starting to connect and thinking that this will be quite useful in the future. Suddenly the sound of a dog barking surprised Kim Lee-hoon. Kim Lee-hoon saw the dog as a cute dog and intended to hold it. The dog is K. K has the ability to make any part of his body into any animal he can touch. His superpower is called Beast Transformation. Kim Lee-hoon throws K at him while asking if Jarim keeps a dog in the office. K is very bad at disguising himself, that's why his office mode is like that. Kim Lee-hoon asked Jarim since when he kept a dog in the office. His question surprised Jarim. Jarim explained that it was a dog, before finishing explaining. Jarim looked at Q to carry out his act and told Kim Lee-hoon to talk about it in the office. In the office, Jarim explained that the dog had been thrown away and found in front of the office, Jarim said while giving a fake cry. Kim Lee-hoon wondered who threw away a cute dog like this. Jarim finds it difficult because he has to take care of him at the office, but he intends to take him home temporarily. Jarim reasoned that because he would be staying at his in-laws' house, he was confused about what he should do. Kim Lee-hoon asked about the others. Jarim reasoned that they were allergic to dogs. Kim Lee-hoon was confused because they looked fine, which surprised them both. Jay scratched his body while Q started pretending to sneeze. Jarim reasoned that they kept him because Jarim liked dogs, and the dog had grown up with them. Jarim said that they should send him to an animal sanctuary now. K, who became a dog, pretended to be angry and tried to get away. Kim Lee-hoon, who heard that, told Jarim to wait a moment. He will immediately ask his family for permission to bring his dog home. K looked at his brother with anxiety. Jarim told K to infiltrate the Kim family residence and gather information in that form, and when the time had come, Jarim and the others would prepare to kill. K was excited to hear that and told Jarim to leave the bribery business to him. K intends to trap the Kim family with his cuteness and take even the slightest information from them. Jarim praised K about K's very good spirit. Kim Lee-hoon came back quickly and called Jarim. Kim Lee-hoon said that he got permission, which made Jarim and his men happy. Kim Lee-hoon called his family that he was okay, and said that there was nothing suspicious here. Jarim, who saw that from the office window, started to smile slyly. In the darkness, Jarim called Kim Lee-hoon a fool. He made his left eye jet black like when he was the executor. And returning to the initial storyline, Jarim managed to enter the Kim family. Jarim opened the door with a smile and promised to make them regret it. Jarim said letting him in here would be their biggest regret. Hain's father prepares a chicken that has been cooked, which makes Jarim lose his focus. Hain's father welcomed Jarim, but Jarim was curious about how Hain's father could fry it that well. The rest of the Kim family began to greet him as well, and Jarim responded by greeting them. Jarim's girlfriend, Hain, asks Jarim to sit next to her. Without saying much, Jarim immediately accepted Hain's invitation. Jarim, who was already hungry, wanted to eat his food immediately and think about his next steps later, but suddenly Grandpa Hain told Jaerim to wait. Hain's grandfather said that he prepared something for him. Jaerim was surprised and asked what this damn hero was planning, because he was currently hungry. Hain's grandfather asked questions and told both teams to give the correct answers. Team 1 was Hain's mother, Hain's eldest brother, and Hain's father. If the answer is wrong, then you can't eat. In Team 2 there are Hain, Uncle Hain, and Jaerim. Grandpa Hain Hanyeong Kim Family Regular Quiz Contest. Jaerim was confused and wondered if he answered wrong he wouldn't be able to eat. Hain's grandfather explains that if he joins the hero family he must know the basic knowledge needed. The first question: can eat roasted pig's feet. If Jaerim wants to try it, he has to press the button and he or one of his team members has to answer correctly, but he has a rival Team 1, and the game begins. Jaerim looked at Hain and now he knew the reason for requiring Jaerim to have an empty stomach. The first question was what should be done to catch someone with off-guard abilities. That question made Jaerim feel disturbed. Jaerim's grandfather and Hain's father want to see what their newest member can do. Kim Lee-hoon immediately rang the bell. Kim Lee-hoon wanted to answer it, making Hain's grandfather and father confused because they had previously coordinated. Hain covered his uncle's mouth, making his father praise her daughter behavior, who knew what his father meant. Jaerim answered and said that the answer was their social weakness. Jaerim's words made the Kim family members confused. Hain asks her boyfriend what social weakness means. Jaerim answered that even though you are skilled, you are still human, thinking that doesn't apply to villains. Jaerim added that if someone has strong abilities, there will be limits that they must obey. Jaerim thought, especially when it comes to heroes, they have honor. And Jaerim confidently answered that the answer must be social weakness, making Hain's grandfather feel that his argument was quite reasonable. But Hain's grandfather thought that the answer was wrong, which made Jaerim feel annoyed. Hain's brother answered that the answer was a condition of ability. Hain's brother surprised Jaerim with his statement. Jaerim felt that his argument made some sense because every person who has abilities has conditions that must be met. And if the conditions are not met, they will get a penalty. But Jaerim felt that the condition didn't matter if someone was very strong. Hain heard Jaerim's stomach growling and made him feel uncomfortable. Hain was worried about Jaerim, who was hungry. Hain made sure he would answer correctly next time, but Jaerim was worried about Hain, who must also be hungry, and said that he was fine. Hain's father calls Jaerim, making Jaerim ask why he called him. Hain's father felt that even though the answer was wrong, the answer was quite interesting. Jaerim hoped to get the food that was in front of Hain's father. But Hain's father gave Jaerim a watch. Hain said that it wasn't a gift and he wanted to give it to him. Hain's father explained that if Jaerim pressed the middle button, there would be a call to summon the assigned guard, which made Jaerim feel impressed. Hain was curious about the other button and pressed it. Jaerim was surprised by the green light around him. Hain's father explained that if you press the button, there will be a barrier around you that will protect you and block some attacks. Jaerim ordered the barrier and felt that the intensity was quite high. Hain's mother explained that Ha-hyun, his eldest son, made it. They made sure that the quality was guaranteed. Jaerim's mother is grateful because she will now feel safe if there is a villain nearby. Jaerim thinks that Ha-hyun is very great and will let him live when his plan starts later. Hain warns Jaerim not to be careless even if he gets the watch. Jaerim nods and will remember Hain's warning. Hain's grandfather shouted and was about to start the second question. Hain's grandfather started to read the second question. Jaerim still hoped that his team could answer it and be able to eat. They rang the bell and answered each other's questions, and Jaerim still hoped that he could answer them and gave Hain food until he was full. And as a result, Kim Lee-hoon said that he might not be used to this. Hain's mother asked Jaerim if he was okay. Jaerim's team got 6 out of 10 questions correct. Jaerim said he was fine while thinking that he had done his best. Hain's grandfather thinks it's worth it and wants to add 10 more questions. Hain's father wants to get more food. Jaerim said that it was extraordinary, thinking that previously Jaerim had been starved, but now he was being tortured with food. Hain's grandfather started the next question. Hain's grandfather asked what the problem was with the hero support system, making Jaerim immediately petrified and starting to remember his past. In his childhood, Jaerim was called by someone. The person was a woman. She asked the young Jaerim if he wanted to be a hero. Hain's grandfather told Jaerim to answer his question. While clenching his fists, Jaerim said that he didn't know. K, who saw Jaerim, was worried about his brother. Hain raised his hand and asked his grandfather to rest for a while, because Hain wanted to buy ice cream with Jaerim. Under the hot sky, Jaerim thought if he wanted to get rid of those hero people, Jaerim said to himself while eating ice cream. Hain calls Jaerim. Jaerim asks why he called her. Hain apologizes to her family for being a bit strange, with all the quizzes and prizes. Hain explains that they did that because they actually wanted to welcome Jae-rim. Jae-rim felt that there was no need for that, because he already felt grateful that they cared about him. Hain immediately went and said that it was a good thing. Hain asked Jae-rim to walk slowly to breathe fresh air, because he would return to his house by giving his family ice cream. Jae-rim thought that he had made Hain worried and was able to read it well. Hain was surprised by the barrier in Hain's house. Jae-rim knew that they were indeed a hero family, but he wondered whether this level of security was really necessary. Jae-rim looked around wondering if there was a gap to get in. Hain returned home while humming. As he was about to enter the house, suddenly a large black shadow appeared behind him. Jae-rim, who was still outside, was shocked by the broken barrier in Hain's house. Jae-rim thought that something like that was impossible. On the other hand, the previous black shadow was a robot and had captured Hain. Jae-rim was still surprised because there was a gap in the barrier, while the robot started to take Hain away with its red eyes.